Good morning. This is John Harder with another episode, live broadcast, TBC, spreading the wealth of TBC and free energy. Now, the title that I have written here is basically the same. I think it's actually exactly the same as it has been for a few days, and I kind of keep it on that topic, ways of building healthy, wealthy, happy communities using TBC. And of course, free energy. Now, I want us to just again become more aware of the powers that we are overcoming. I say this on purpose, that we are overcoming. There is, for many years now, increasingly, the powers that are sitting in the shadows pulling strings, using the governments of the countries as hammers to enforce their so-called laws on humanity, and are ever increasing their how should I say, their aggression against us. You know, there's always another new word coming up that makes it sound like it is for the good of humanity, where actually it is only to for them to gain more power. Let's use a couple examples. When they want more cameras, more street cameras, more surveillance, which already everything is like stores and so on, pretty much everything is under surveillance. And while we look at these cameras and we say, oh, okay, well, I guess they have their store well surveilled, so it's like, you know, they're gonna get thieves out. Ladies and gentlemen, ask yourself a question. Is it for the thieves? Is it for the thieves? Or is it for the criminals sitting in the shadows pulling the strings? Who are these cameras for? The same thing with what a few years ago started rolling out this KYC. KYC, know your customer. You come to a store, especially if it has anything to do with moving money anywhere. KYC is very much in force. For instance, when you go to a bank here in Mexico, if you come from Canada or any other country, doesn't matter where you come from, you want to exchange some money, cash for cash, easy, cash for cash, right? I mean, what's really, what is the difficulty? I give you American cash, and you just simply give me Canadian at a bank that has the currencies. But that's not how simple it is. If you want to exchange some cash, you've got to show your passport. You've got to You've got to show your driver's license or something to prove the exact location where you live in the other country. Why? Why? Do you think the person at the till cares one little bit where you live in order to exchange the cash? You think they care? So who wants to know? Who wants to know? Do you think the Mexican government cares? No. No, they couldn't give a hoot where you live. It doesn't matter any to them. So who wants to know? Who wants to know? The banking cartels, they want to know. They want to know. And if we think that if we want to just shrug it off and say, okay, yeah, whatever, all right, yeah, okay, well, you know, let them do their thing, and just go along with it. We are not standing up for ourselves. That is why TBC was created. This is why TBC was created. Now, I know that people coming into TBC at a glance realize the verifications that we have to do of our transactions and things like that. We could very quickly draw a conclusion and say, well, it's not all that different. It's not all that different. But let's look back what happened a year ago. Just a year ago. You know, TBC was created 2 years ago, or a little bit more than 2 years ago now. And about a year later, we almost lost. We almost lost TBC. There were people who did not care, about what happens to the currency. There were people who would literally take their own so-called, how would you call it, needs or panic, if you will, ahead of the entire reason that the coin was even created. So we need to ask ourselves, you know, what do we really want with TBC? What do we want to do? You see, if we destroy that which is at this point the only tool we have, well, I shouldn't maybe really say that it is the only, because there are many other cryptocurrencies. But if you do your research and you check it all out, none of them are going to fit the bill to replace the economy. None of them. None of them. They are all based on the idea of supply and demand, which is actually what drives the current market. It's basically supply and demand that drives the market. What does supply and demand do? What's wrong? What's wrong with supply and demand? Is there anything wrong with that? Well, maybe on the surface we could say there isn't anything wrong with it. And in fact, I don't believe there is anything wrong with supply and demand. There's always, I believe, in things that we do in the market. Supply and demand do play a role. For instance, when you are, like, let's say you're running a lumber mill or hardware store or lumber yard is what I meant to say, a lumber yard. And you just out of the blue decide that, well, I'm going to order a semi-load of nails. you know, 1-inch nails for nailing trim. And when this load of nails arrives, likely all of the staff in the yard would say, who ordered this? And is that person, does he have any sanity? Okay, so what am I saying here? Okay, the point is this. The point is this, that supply and demand does play a role, always, always. But if we say, okay, let's make a coin, and let's make the supply, the total supply, let's make it 1 million coins. Just for an example, let's make it 1 million coins. So the first question we ask ourselves then, why are we doing this? What's the purpose for only 1 million coins when there is billions of people? Well, the purpose for just 1 million coins, the reason would be then to have a coin go skyrocket in price. Because if everybody in the world would want even just a small part of a coin, the price would really have to go way up for that to even happen. What would be the, why does that matter any? Well, here's why. When the first person who buys at the price of, say, 1/10 of a penny, which is what TBC actually started out with, and this person buys several $100s worth, and he tells a few others, they find out, and he tells a few others, because he tells them, why would he tell? Why wouldn't he just keep it secret? No, the price, he wants to go the price. He wants to push the price up. This is where his fortune is. So he tells people, and they buy. Heck, it's so cheap. So they buy. Price up. Every person who buys has to pay a little bit more because this is becoming the demand. And eventually, this coin, there's only 1 million supply, and eventually there's several thousand people who have bought, and by this time, the coin is likely 10, 20, or whatever dollars per coin. Well, if you have bought at just 1/10 of a penny, and now the coin is $10, tell me, what would you do? At that point, what would you do? You know what I would do? I would sell. I would sell probably most of it. When I sell, and I bought that much at the beginning, what is that going to do to the price? What's that going to do? Instantly, you'll see the price start nosediving. What do you think the people who bought after I did, what do you think those people are going to do? As soon as they see that it's starting to nosedive, sell. Of course, sell. So now it starts, how should I say, the domino effect is starting to cause the coin to nosedive because everybody wants to sell. And some of the latest buyers, they will end up in a panic to sell because some of the latest buyers, they already paid more than what the coin is now. Well, they don't want to lose too much. You see, they're already losing, and they just trying not to lose more. They just sell for whatever they can. Now, I would like for us to take a closer look here. Not closer, actually, I would say let's zoom out a little bit. Let's zoom out. Because what has been happening over the years is that what the powers that shouldn't be, what they've been doing to us is they have been zooming us in closer and closer and closer, so we can't actually see the picture. We can only see the dense fog around us that we're in. We can't see the picture. So now, if we want to have a better look at what just happened with the coin as I explained it, we need to zoom out some, and we need to let the fog melt off. Let the sun shine in and burn off the fog, zoom out and have a better look at what happened there. Now, if I had bought, let's say I found out about this coin at the price of $5, right? And it had gained it went up to $10. So I bought it at about a half of that price. So what is the smart thing for me to do as soon as, let's say I hadn't kept a very close eye on it, and now the price is at the same price as what I bought. What should I really do? What should I do? You see, here is where the opinions vary probably almost as much as what there are people. But if we practice faith, we practice faith, believing in a better future, believing. When I bought the coin, if I bought it in faith and with a belief that it is going to be an advancement for me, well, should I go and toss that faith out because the coin has now dropped back down to that price? If you plant, let's say you plant an apple seed, and you do it for the purpose that you want an apple tree, okay? You do it for that purpose. And all of a sudden, you notice, you go and you take a look and you say, well, that tree looks like it hasn't been watered in a while. What should I do? Uproot it? Let's put some water. Let's water it. Let's water it. Let it do its thing. Let it do what it would do naturally if we take care of it. You see, this is exactly what would happen. I'll share a personal experience with you to help illustrate this point a little bit more, what I'm talking about. It was in 2017 when I bought, actually that's when I first started buying some cryptocurrencies. I don't believe I had any in 2016, but in early 2017, I bought a little bit of cryptocurrency. I believe it was at first $50 worth that I bought, and I bought some Dash. I don't know if you're familiar with that coin, but I bought some Dash because it looked promising at the time. And I spent a bit of money and I bought some Dash. And what I had bought went up really nicely. It gained value. And so I went and I bought a little bit more. And so I had this Dash, and it kept growing, and then it grew more rapidly, and within a few months I had I don't remember the exact number anymore, but I believe it was around near 30,000, something like that. But I wanted more than that, and so I just left it, Then it started going down all of a sudden. It started nosediving and it dove down until I had about $3,000 left. And then it hovered. It just sort of hovered there. And I'm beginning to think, okay, I have about I think it was $200 that I had into it. And now it's still at $3,000. So what should I do? And because I began losing faith in it, and so I ended up selling all of it. And now I'm going to come back to this point later, but I'm going to just tell you right now what happened with Dash. After I sold all of my Dash, it was 2 weeks later, it started rising in price, and it went up. It went up. I'll just say it like this. If I had capped it until now, I'd have over $100,000 worth of Dash. Unless it has, I haven't kept an eye on for the last few weeks, unless it has really taken a nosedive right now, or went the other way, then it would be even more. But that's about what I would have had in a few weeks ago if I would have kept my Dash. But I didn't. All right, so back to where we were. I looked around. I started looking around. What am I going to do with this money that I still have left that I have made with my coin? I started looking around. And on the weekend, my friend Pedro and I, we were talking, and he says, you know, John, he said, I wish there was a coin that would not fluctuate in price, but only go up. Okay, well, I mean, that was just a passing conversation. As far as I knew, I didn't expect anything like that to show up. But during the week, as I was, you know, kind of digging around in the exchanges, trying to find a coin that would look promising, all of a sudden I come across this coin that I thought, that's interesting. So I checked it out, and here it was TBC. However, TBC was actually never in the exchange that where I was digging. So I guess in my searching to check it out further, I must have typed in the wrong letters and typed in TBC. And as soon as I caught on what this coin was all about, I called up my friend Pedro. I said, hey, you know what? I found the coin that you said you wanted. I found the coin. And I signed up, he signed up, and so what I ended up bought about $1,500 worth of TBC at the moment, and of course the transactions right at that point started really piling up. I had one of my transactions had gone through, and the rest didn't. See, I bought on, probably 4 that I, you know, invested a little more and a little more, and till it was about $1,500. And well, now the blockchain was jamming up. The wallet system was jamming up, and so it took us for a sort of a wild ride for a while. And so we kept on telling people about it, you know, in spite of this happening. And we started noticing a lot of people walking away. You know, a lot of people it seemed to be totally out of tune. And then trolls came along and really started hitting hard on the especially on Facebook. That we were really attacked by many people due to the negative energy that was floating around because of the wallet system not working. And so this was this was a huge knock against TBC at the time. But admin didn't just fold up and say, well, you know what, I gave it a try, and so that's all I can do. They didn't do that. He spent, I don't know how much. I don't know how much, but my guess is that it went likely in the millions that he spent to put the system back together, to create a brand new wallet system, and took it under control because of the, as I mentioned earlier, because of the, we nearly lost the coin due to people not respecting the price of the coin. And so admin took this under control, and had they not, TBC would not exist today. If it did, it really would mean diddly squat. It wouldn't. And so I am really, really grateful for this stand that admin took, because the coin was literally designed to end poverty globally. Now I want to show us a bit of the picture, what we're up against right now. Sort of as an update. Right now, we are in an info war. We are in an info war that is, it's a war like the world has never seen before. And here is why. Here's why we're in this info war. Those powers that shouldn't be, that have been hiding in the shadows all these years, they have been exposed. The public now knows who these people are. I shouldn't say the public. The general public might still not be aware. There are still very, very many people who don't even know who the banking cartels are. There are many people still that don't even know why this world is turning stranger and stranger. It's beginning more and more to feel like as if we're on some X-planet, some planet that we have never known. But this info war that we're in right now is the war where it's truth against lies. You see, all these years, while those banking cartels were sitting in the shadows, pulling the strings, using the government as hammers to control population and to how should I say, more and more aggressively gaining control of every individual. These people, they were unknown. Nobody knew who they were. We didn't know who they were. We couldn't figure it out. What's going on? Why are the governments, why are they starting to act as if running a business is a sin? Why are they starting to act as if coming into another country is a sin? Why are they starting to act as if everything is wrong? That humanity, basically, there's nothing we can do that we don't have to go and buy a license for. And finally, Bitcoin came along. Bitcoin came along. And when the banking cartels found out about Bitcoin, they have tried to attack it, or they have attacked it from every possible angle and have not been able to penetrate blockchain to control it. This is why TBC was created, because the blockchain withstands penetration. And so once these creeps that were sitting in the shadows pulling the strings, once they realized they cannot gain control of Bitcoin, they started coming out. They started crawling out from under the rocks where they were hiding and started publicly condemning Bitcoin. Started coming out, creeping out, and condemning that which they could not gain control of. Folks, let me tell you some good news. Let me tell you some good news. We are now in an info war, but truth prevails. Truth prevails. As soon as people understand, they choose truth. Maybe not the people so quickly that are working for those banking cartels, but the general population, when they understand what the truth is, they choose the truth. Because after all, there is a phrase that says, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Let me just acknowledge those who are in here. Chona, thank you so much for coming along, for tuning into my channel. I really appreciate it. Marjorie Harder, thank you for moderating. Susan Harder, thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. Diana Gordon from Canada, thank you for tuning in. Jacob Harder, thank you so much for tuning in. And we got MD Desafo. I am not exactly sure how you pronounce your name. I welcome you very much to my channel. I appreciate you coming on. I don't believe I've seen you before on my channel, but it's great to have you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Mausa, thank you also for tuning in. I really appreciate you being aboard and mentioned. Thank you so much, people, for tuning in. And you know, I want to again share our screen for a little bit, because I'm actually I'm going to go to the same page I was yesterday. It's really the same page I want to go to on the blog, and so I'm just going to do that quickly. So here we are on the same blog post that we were yesterday, and I want us to look at this bridge for a little bit, because to me it looks like the plan that admin has put together is very, very well put. Okay, and so we have, there's 1 to 2 years cash flow campaign, and the bridge campaign is the bridge between the fiat based economy and the fully developed TBC Kringle economy. All right. And I'm not going to read through the whole post. I'm going to leave that to you at your own discretion. But I want to, what I really wanted to do at this page is, because I wanted to just alert you again about this page, and hopefully I can encourage you enough to actually go to this page and read it, because the information on it is really, really very well planned out. I would have to on a scale from 1 to 10, I think I'd have to give TBC at least a 10.5 or 11 on that scale. Okay, so And so here we have the chart here where you can check out for yourself what the difference is between being a broadcaster or otherwise. And so it doesn't mean if you just can't broadcast or aren't comfortable with it, it doesn't mean that you can't still come way ahead financially with TBC. Of course you can. To still have a lot, you have to spend more money to get it, but you can do it. Okay, so now here is where I would like you to go through this though, and if at all you feel that nudge within you that you kind of feel this feeling inside you, maybe broadcasting would actually be a pretty good thing to do. Maybe it would help me in more ways than just gaining wealth. Maybe it would boost my self-esteem, or whatever it is. Now, I'm going to say something here about self-esteem as well, because I think people really are not looking at this at self-esteem in the right way. And why do I say that? Well, the thing is that I know that in many churches, the idea of self-esteem is really looked down on. What they tend to do is they kind of mix self-esteem with arrogance. Okay, there is a very big difference between being arrogant or having a self-respect, self-esteem, and self-respect. I'm going to say it again like this. Everything that comes into existence, into the physical world, comes from the invisible. Folks, it's not possible any other way. This is the only way creation works. And when you want to create something in your life, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it is a decent self-respect or you want to have a true respect for others. Now, here is where it gets very confusing, I think, for many people. You see, many people, they have turned into these, should I say, a slave of doing everything for other people, doing everything for others and not have any self-respect. Okay? Now, how do we have a healthy, how can we gain a healthy self-respect and at the same time have a decent respect for other people? Now, if you're one of these people who is basically looking after everybody else's need and not your own, then I would encourage you to, take a bit of time and think about this. You can never give to others what you don't have yourself. What does that mean? That means that if you don't have a healthy self-respect in your own life, for your own body, your own spirit, and truly love yourself, your body, for having been there for you all this time, if you don't have a true respect for yourself, you cannot have, give respect to others. You have, in that moment, you have to realize you have become a slave to try to please others over your own needs and your own wants. Remember, anything good that you can truly give to others must start at home. It must start at home. And so this is why This is why I encourage you to build your self-respect, because I think that most of the people who don't want to broadcast, they misunderstand what broadcasting is. They misunderstand it because they have this feeling, well, I'm shy, I don't want to be in front of the camera. And at the same time, there's a huge advantage they could be gaining from it in order to challenge the very thing that they fear. I've heard it said before like this, that that you really have is fear. Fear itself is really the only enemy. And what can overcome fear is faith. Is faith. Beginning to believe in yourself. Beginning to believe that you do matter. You really do matter. Your DNA is in the entire universe. Your spiritual DNA exists in the entire universe. Don't go hiding under a rock. Don't go hiding thinking that you can't do this. Anybody can do this. If you can talk to your best friends, then you can also broadcast. It doesn't matter. Now, I don't want to sit here and try to talk you into broadcasting if that's not what you want to do. That's not my point. But my point is this, is that if you at all feel this nudge within you, that it would be a good thing to do, well then, courage and do it. Don't let life pass you by. Don't let all of the wonderful blessings that you would get from it pass you by. Take the opportunity and do it. Right now, it is one of the best things that you can do to help spread the wealth of the BillionCoin. All right. Okay, so I think I've talked on that long enough. So if you can at least take the time, go through this blog post and see what it says, you know. As I said, I believe that admin has really, really thought it through, what they're saying here. I think it's a great thing. And so let us win this info war. Let's win this info war. Once we have won the info war, we can build the new economy of TBC. Once we have won this info war, we will easily build the new economy. But right now, it's about getting the word out and letting people know what kind of a world we're really living in. That's really where it's at about now. And of course, at the same time, we can help people create an abundant future. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, for hanging out with me here. I truly appreciate every one of you. And with that said, before I forget, for those of you who are still have not migrated, there is the blockchain has been shut down, the old blockchain. So the system is shut down. This is great news for us because there was somebody out there who had created himself a wallet system that tapped into the old blockchain and was discounting the coin along the way, while those of us who are in with TBC are actually, you know, being honest people and everything. There was another wallet that had found its way into the TBC blockchain, and which at the time when the blockchain was shut down is all terminated. So let's be grateful for that, for sure. So it is a great news. It's great news that we are fully on the new system. And for those of you who have not brought your coin into the new wallet, let me just encourage you to do that. There are still ways, and if I have links here in the description, and if there's any questions that you have as to how to, if you need any help with doing that, I appreciate almost every day. I still get emails, people asking me about help, and that's great. I am very happy to help people, to help you with migration. And so if you haven't done it yet, just go ahead and do it. Bring your coin into the new wallet, all right? And here's why. Like, you could just go and create a new wallet. You still get a gift and everything. But the gifts that you get now are a lot less potent than the older ones were. You see, the original was 100,000 Kringles, and then it ended up being 50,000, and then 25,000. And I believe that's still the equivalent that we have. But very many people have the gift of the 100,000 and the 50,000. And that's a pretty big gift to just let slide, So bring your coins across, bring it to the new wallet, and folks, let's build the bridge. Let's build that bridge that was on the that's on that blog post that I showed you. So tomorrow my focus is going to be a little bit more on the spiritual powers. Okay? Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Christina. Oh, Christina, I hadn't noticed you. Apologize. Thank you so much for joining me as well. So much, everyone. You have a wonderful day, and peace.